I really like this perspective on value making for companies, which is that a value isn't something that everybody would agree with per se. Like saying that you value equality is, I hope, just a given at this point. No, that's not really. It's not that you need to be contrarian per se, or potentially offensive at all in your value making and beliefs, and we definitely don't believe that. But I do think a value is something that you have to be willing to sacrifice something else for. Mm-hmm. And so if your value is that we believe power is not a zero-sum game, is a core belief that we hold at Chief, that this is something of, we believe that true power comes through self-discovery and community, and this other value of cognitive diversity is that more perspectives is more powerful, and there's power to, not power over, and that leadership is not about dominance per se, as it is about persuasion and the ability to form coalitions. And so people would disagree with that. I think a lot of people do think, whether they admit it or not, that power is a zero-sum game, or do think that, you're in direct competition with your peers at any moment for any job. And so does that make sense of kind of like asking ourselves what we are willing to sacrifice and what we're not?
And Leah, I think one thing I'm thinking about as you say this, mm-hmm. is how important it is to get into the why behind the brand and getting really into the guts of the perspective. And one big reason is because it would be very easy, and possibly you do fine, just like embracing some of the, let me just use the word feminist trappings, or political trappings, and said, like, because you didn't use the word empower. You haven't used the word empower once in this conversation. Mm-hmm. So Chief could probably go far just doing that. Yes. But like instead, you're taking a brand and you're setting it apart. Yes, you're on the same path. You're directionally aligned with all of that. Yep. But to be a business, to be sustainable, to be interesting to yourselves internally, and to feel good about what you're doing, you're taking the time to figure out exactly what your coordinates are. And I think that's really important, because none of us on this call, I'm going to guess, mm-hmm. I certainly am not doing something that's new under the sun, right? Yeah. And so like really being granular about why you're doing what you're doing is hugely important.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think the reality is that a lot of corporate feminism is marketed to women to make them believe that they're powerful. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that per se. Especially as a young person, I have benefited from, empowering statements throughout my life, from empowering videos and brands. And there's a part of that is kind of like an intro to education of what it means to be in power as a woman. And that is different for every single woman from every different background. And intersectionality, I think, is absolutely essential in this conversation, too often whitewashed by the conversation about feminism. But we at Chief believe that change really starts at the top. And we believe that you get to the top because you're already powerful. Our women, they don't need to be told they're powerful. They have achieved. They are powerful. Even if they hadn't, they would still be powerful. Getting through, the average age of our membership is in the early 40s. Getting to that stage in an executive career as a woman is a feat in and of itself. And so we really believe in helping our women more deeply understand how they got there and how they can stay there. But it's really about what's already inside you and what's already inside the rest of our community, and just bringing that to the forefront in a space that